Developing now, we're hours away from tax-free weekend. Just ahead, what you need to know to stay safe and avoid common mistakes. And several Americans are back in the U.S. after being imprisoned in Russia. In minutes, a deeper look at how they're adjusting or readjusting to normal life. Plus, there's a reason you can't secure that job interview. Later in the show, we'll tell you why and how to change that. This is THV 11 at noon. Well, as we start the afternoon, temperatures are nearing the 100-degree mark. I'm joined by meteorologist Simone Thomas, who is tracking the sweltering conditions. Simone, will this heat have an impact on our weekend?
Now, we are still tracking another weather impact alert for today due to that dangerous heat, but as we go into the weekend, we won't be feeling quite hot enough to need the alert. So here's what we're tracking today. Now through 8 o'clock, that's when we're going to see the heat alerts from the National Weather Service, as well as our weather impact alert because of that dangerous heat. So heat advisory across much of those central Arkansas counties, but you see locations further south under an excessive heat warning. Generally speaking, if you live south of the I-40 line, you're going to be impacted by the heat today, but a little bit of relief is on the way. You see that cold front trying to move through the state this morning or this afternoon? That's going to be moving a little bit farther through the state through the day. More of central Arkansas feeling the impacts into afternoon. Locations south of that I-40 line feeling the impacts into the evening. So as we get into the weekend, it's still going to be hot. It is the beginning of August, but it's not going to be feeling as hot as what we're expecting today with those heat indices between 105 and 115. Now, if you stay with us, I'll have a look at the weekend ahead, the timeline on how that front is moving through the rest of the state and how soon we might need that next heat alert coming up in your 7-day outlook.
All right, Simone, thank you for that. Well, the heat is cranking up and you could end up in the hospital if you aren't taking caution against the sun. We've been dealing with extreme heat conditions all week long, and if you plan to be outdoors this weekend, you should know the signs of heat exhaustion. It happens when your body temperature rises above average, causing you to feel dizzy, leading to heavy sweating and extreme thirst. If you don't address those symptoms quickly, you could end up having a stroke.
Stop sweating, but more importantly, you start to see confusion, you start to see sluggishness, you see fast heart rate, and that's when we really get into a crisis situation.
A stroke happens when your body reaches over 104 degrees. To avoid that, drink plenty of fluids and try to stay in the shade. Well, just hours ago, the Pulaski County Special School District officially opened the doors to their new student-based health center. It'll provide healthcare access to students across the entire district. The facility offers a variety of services with hopes of improving the quality of life outside and inside the classroom. Students and staff can set up appointments or drop by to reap the benefits the new center will provide.
It would keep students in school, it would keep staff at work, and schools can't operate without either of those, students or staff. So if we have an opportunity to keep everybody healthy, then that's what we want to do to provide to our staff and our students.
And of course, the facility opens just in time for the new school year and sits right behind Mills Middle School. Plans to upgrade downtown Little Rock could soon get up and underway. City directors say there's a need to bring new life into the River Market, most of which would come from the recently approved downtown master plan. A new stage, building upgrades, and much more could all be reality in the near future.
We need to make this a place where at nighttime people want to come, where you can have good quality food in a casual atmosphere, but have entertainment.
Negotiations for upgrading downtown are already happening. The city is waiting for an agreement with the company in St. Louis before moving forward. And more upgrades headed to Little Rock could give people something new to enjoy while outdoors. Some of you may be familiar with Hyman Park, the golf course that was recently repurposed for disc golf. Now the city's Parks and Rec Department wants to turn it into a place for mountain biking. A master plan is currently being drafted, but before it's finished, directors want to know how you feel about it.
And having a lot more consultants and professionals at the table and having a lot of public input to really define what is needed here, what is wanted here, what the program is.
Right now, we don't know when the city will get started on the plans, as they're waiting to see if they get more funding from the sales tax increase, and voters will decide on that in November. Over in Benton, a community center is back open and ready for use. Hours ago, the Ralph Bunch neighborhood gathered to celebrate the upgraded facility. It was previously shut down due to plumbing issues. With those now resolved, the area is ready to get back to hosting events and having a good time.
I am so happy that this thing is back open and in place, because it really not only pulls this community together, it's one place that everyone feels welcome.
And a building reopened just in time for the city's 22nd annual Back to School Picnic. This afternoon, organizers are taking action against a ballot measure that could stop a casino from being built in Polk County. A lawsuit was filed to challenge the group Let Voters Decide in their push to keep the casino plans from happening. Just days ago, the amendment was confirmed to have enough support to go up for a public vote, but it didn't take long for a rival group to sue, arguing that canvassers allegedly broke the rules when gathering signatures. Now, the Polk County judge issued a statement calling out the amendment for, quote, seeking to deprive our state of new tax revenue, quality jobs, and an entertainment destination, end quote. Judge Ben Cross previously gave his full support to the developer group Cherokee Nation Entertainment, who currently holds the final gaming license. Well, looking ahead to the weekend, some of you may be getting ready to take on tax-free weekend, but there's a few things to look for ahead of your shopping spree. The Better Business Bureau is reminding people to watch out for in-person scams. To avoid falling victim, start with comparing prices across different places to make sure you're getting the best deal. Plus, watch for the terms and conditions of sales, because you may not be able to return some items. And finally, verify what you actually need before splurging on unnecessary stuff. Now, for online shoppers, make sure you're shopping at places with a good reputation. If you happen to find an unfamiliar site, ask around before you fill up your cart. And if you see an ad, go to the actual website to make sure it's legit. Now, we've made it easy for you to get ready for the stores this weekend. Our digital teams has additional information on what qualifies for tax exemption. All you have to do is find this story on our website. Of course, that's thb11.com. Airlines are still bouncing back from a major cyber outage. And if you're planning a last-minute summer trip, here's a few things to know in case you run into delays or cancellations.
The sound of a flight taking off is what thousands of people did not hear when an IT outage canceled and delayed thousands of flights for days. People who have to deal with this mess do have rights. The Department of Transportation has a sort of Bill of Rights for passengers. It states that people can get a refund if your flight is canceled and you decide to not take another flight. This refund should come the same way you paid. Now, we know issues like the CrowdStrike outage can make these moments tense. So if someone says you can't get a refund or only offers you a voucher, do not take it. Instead, file a complaint with the DOT and dispute the charge with your credit card company. This applies to all flights that land or take off from the United States. But if your flight is significantly delayed and just keeps getting pushed back, there is not a federal rule that requires the airline to compensate you, at least not yet. Earlier this year, the DOT updated the rule to give passengers even more rights. It defines a significantly delayed flight as 3 hours domestically and 6 hours internationally, along with some other protections about layovers and seating assignments. The biggest change is that this rule would require refunds to be automatic by the airline, meaning you wouldn't have to spend time on the phone or in line requesting your money back. You would just get it. Unfortunately, that rule is not in effect yet and likely won't be fully in effect until spring of next year. Now, there have been some lawsuits to stop that rule, but travel industry experts say they don't think those cases will stick, mostly because what they're pushing back on has nothing to do with this scenario.
The government wants airlines to put all the fees up front when you search for a flight, and the airlines say it's just really not, there's no way to make that happen seamlessly. So that's where the fight really is right now.
The younger generation is becoming more at risk for developing cancer. Ahead at 12:18, we share what doctors recommend to stop it from taking over your life.
Now, numerous locations across the state already starting to see those feels-like temperatures in the triple digits, which is why we have that weather impact alert in effect until 8 o'clock. Coming up, I'll tell you what the weekend is looking like in your 7-day outlook.